Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's another fun-filled day. It's towards the end of the week. Mr. Biden had his show last night. He spoke. I think it was his. They say his 10th, but it was. This is the first news conference he's had since November. He's only had two in America, 8 of them outside the United States, which is really weird. And so it's anyway. End result is that. Markets seem to be sideways to up. You can see the dollar seems to be, you can see the Swiss as we look at it right now, kind of sideways. As we take a sip of our tea here. Let's see now. Let's check out the chat line, see if anything's going on there. And overall, there was no real clarity at all. I mean, he just did his normal thing. You know, it was normal Biden. Things didn't make a lot of sense. There was no talk about inflation whatsoever, or the crisis at the border. You know, it was some odd things like were skipped altogether. It seemed scripted for the first hour and 20 minutes, so that was kind of neat that the last 35, 40 minutes were a little bit looser. And, you know, when he doesn't want to answer something, he says, next question. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. He is the king, I guess. All right, let's take a look and see what we got going on here. You can see the Swiss. You can see it's 3 greens on the J4X. Where's that mouse at? Right there. You can see that. You know, it's firming. You can see the white line piercing up through the dash line. Over here on Chicago Quant, you see the same situation. You know, it's been in a daily buy for what is that now? Is it 4 days? Let's put the line in there. Right there. So it's been in a buy, and let's put this one over here. There's the sell. I thought we had that in there yesterday. It's amazing how it disappears on us sometimes. Let's try to do a save here, and that'll do that. Save. There we are. And so you can see we've been 3 full days in a buy. On a fourth, the product doesn't seem to be going anywhere particular. Hey, Robin! So it doesn't seem like anything's really happening. Robin, you see that crazy news conference last night? Oh, he was so... I thought he did a good job that he could stand up for almost 2 hours. I thought that was pretty impressive. That alone, you know, was a positive thing. I mean, he's got his, you know, people are challenging his mental capacity, and I understand that. You know, I mean, he does say some really strange things and doesn't really answer questions, but, you know, he's... It's definitely weird. Let's put it that way. And there's Jordan. Hey, Jordan, how you doing? So there's the. That's really the action we're seeing here this morning. Is it's sideways. You know, no real excitement. Mr. Biden didn't flip out the marketplace, so that's always a good thing. You know, I mean, that's what we that's what we kind of shoot for in the end. Is that, you know, a peaceful situation, not a wild situation. So, you know, we were happy to see that. Let's see. Oh, let me just check my sound. There we go. Sounds good. So that was a positive thing. But after that, it was just kind of like the same old noise, just a different day. I mean, I didn't really see anything particular that made me feel in any change anything. Everything was all the same. So anyhow, oh, I see this morning Zimbabwe. They just want to hold the dollars now. They don't even want to hold their own Zimbabwe dollar, which I understand that $1 is 1 billion or something. A $1 bill is a $1 billion bill or something like that. I don't know. It's really bad. Too bad that doesn't float. And after that, the banks seem to be doing good. You know, we see earnings. England did something interesting. You know, I mean, we saw them announce it 2 days ago. Ends all COVID passports, mask mandates, and work restrictions. So just as we were telling you about 3 weeks ago that we saw top Democrats selling out of the COVID business. You know, they bought it in 2018. the COVID bit. I know 2018 they started buying into the COVID business. We saw that they sold out to Sky Hedge Fund. They liquidated their position. So we see things are coming to an end in this COVID thing. It's just a matter of time before Mr. Biden catches on. And no other effects than that. Saw the gas information in Europe, where I think I mentioned this yesterday. Germany said that if there was some type of invasion into Ukraine, they would halt the gas line, the Nord Stream 2. Mr. Biden said the opposite, and then I understand an hour or so later. I don't really try to pay attention to Biden that much, but he basically, they put a press release out about an hour and a half later from last night's thing and said that Mr. Biden would be upset if there was a minor incursion. He kept on saying, no problem about minor incursions, just major incursions into the Ukraine. So that's the gist of that, I guess you could say. Anyhow, that's about it. I guess let's just take a look at the Swiss now. And that's the news that we've seen, that nothing's really shaking this morning. I mean, things seem a little bounce in the stock market, so everything seems to be relatively calm. I don't really think inflation is, as much as, it's on the lips of everybody, it doesn't seem to have that much of an effect. You can see here, oh, here we go. In J4X, we're getting a little red hinky to match up with the weakness we're seeing here on the, where's that at right there on the Chicago Quant. You can see that. Nothing major. I don't know if we have a red dot there or not. I don't even see a red dot. We should make those lines white. It makes it easier to spot like that. And this way, if there is a dot in there, we'll see it. So that's that. Oh, not that. That's the trend we've been watching this dollar Swiss in for like the last year and a half, 2 years, something like that. And you can see here, yeah, it bounces between those. Sometimes it gets a little above it, then falls right down, or it gets a little below it, and comes right back up again. And so you can see here, it's just a couple of down candles, but no real action. You see the weekly is just on the second week of selling. So again, not much calamity developing from that. So that's a good thing. Gold and silver? Yeah, let's check out gold and silver. Go over to there. And there is the gold. You see that? Gold's a little off from yesterday, nothing major. I was happy to see it lift up. You can see we're at the second week of the weekly buy, so it's it's been in a daily buy for a bunch of days. What's that? 2, 4, 6, going on the 8th day now. We'll see how they move that throughout the day. There's silver right there. You can see there. Same situation. Was at 4, 5, 6, going on a 7th day. And we've been also 1 full week in a weekly buy. And looks like, well, it's actually gone up $1 since we went into the weekly buy. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty good move when it comes to silver. Well, let's go back to see gold. I wonder what the move was there. Right there. We went about $40 move, right? $35 move since it went into the weekly buy. What's the close there? 16. It got to 43. So if it was 46, it would be 30. So that's $27 compared to $1 in $27 in gold and almost a full dollar in silver. So that's been pretty good. Silver's really performing much better. Okay, what else can we say about that? I guess that's about it there on the metals complex. We'll slip back over to see what the euro is doing this morning. Right there on J4X. You see, it's been a little bit weaker than we're expecting. Keep on thinking it's going to stop very soon and start to build a bottom in there. You can see right there, same situation on the Chicago Quant. It's just hesitating, going sideways for the last 2 days. It seems like it's trying to bounce. You can see this is down on J4X. It's way down at the bottom end of the range. and this thing is already trying to bounce on Chicago, and you can see the weekly is very firm, I guess you could say. Maybe a little tiny weakness developing, but nothing major yet. And so that little slam we got 3 days ago, right there, basically it's gone nowhere to up, really. Not a up, you know, just firm, you know, staying steady. Danky or thanky? Danky. Let me see what else is brewing over here. I think I'll have after Danky, I think I'll have a sip of my tea again. All right. Now from there, we'll slide over to the cable. Right there. Doing the same thing, you know, since Tuesday right here. It's basically been sideways. You can see this thing is burying itself way down at the bottom, so it's getting ready to bounce. And let's check it out over here on Chicago. Right there. You know, that's even more docile. You can see we're trying to turn up in here. Not much action. Parked on that 0.38 that we talked about. Thank you. Oh, no, thank you. Oh, no. Thank you. Oh, no. Thank you. Indeed. So at this point in time, did they transact? Oh, they did transact the Sotheby diamond. Fetch at least 5 million. Oh, it hasn't. It hasn't transacted yet. They're thinking that it's going to transact at 6.8 million. There's this big black diamond that is at Sotheby's. What else can we say about the three currencies so far? And that is that no real action. And you know, we've been watching, you know, of late the success of the Turkish strategy, and I'm really becoming sold on that. I'm really liking that. I mean, why pay the whole bill? Just offer to give out free puts, and the country is so much less in debt from trying to hold their currency up. And I think it actually not forces, but what it does is it pressures growth. I really do. I think giving puts out on your currency pressure growth in your country at the same time, which is a great thing. So in other words, you know, your country's having a problem with its currency, you know, like Turkey did, you know, enormous hyperinflation, and the government comes out and says, hey, guess what? We're going to give out puts for free to everybody who's long our currency. And so now money will hold on to the Turkish lira. That means they're going to invest in Turkey because they have a floor not to worry about. In other words, they know where the downside is. Turkey, if they have to compensate, will raise taxes. But at the same time, they have new growth starting to develop because you have money invested in Turkey, the Turkish lira, and the country itself. And so, I mean, if you own Turkish lira, obviously you're going to try to invest it in something, put it in banks and get interest, or you know, buy, you know, vineyards, or buy, you know, orange crops, or buy, you know, cloth, or whatever they manufacture, you know, whatever they're into manufacturing. Maybe they have an automobile. I don't even know if there's a Turkish automobile out there, but you know, it will force money to invest, I don't even want to use the word enforce. I think it will open a pathway to invest. So the idea of, you know, giving out free puts when your currency is underwater, especially when they went to hyperinflation from like 1 to 20, you know, that says a lot. So, you know, it may be a great template in future years to South America. Instead of them bailing out and going bankrupt each time, they just give out free puts. And they say, okay, well, you hold on to our currency, and we'll hedge whatever you lose from where you purchased it. So they tax the population to pay for that put, and then from there, that money sits in, you know, that country's banks, and they start to invest it, and so forth and so on. So we may be looking. I said to Janos, you know, the head analyst at Dukascopy. I said, ah, that'll fail. That was my first impression of it. It'll fail. But no, it's looking pretty good, actually. Let's go over and take a look at it. It makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's going to, look at that. Look how nice and steady it's been throughout the whole year now. You know, the first of the year. And here we are going on almost, we're 2/3 through January. You know, you had the wild oscillation from it because a lot of us went like, ah, sure, right. And then it had the nice little bounce up. It's had become steady. And so you're looking now at 1.5 to 13.5, you know, so that's not too bad compared to 18. That's a 33% discount. That's very good. I mean, there's probably a lot of people in Turkey over the last 3 weeks going, wow, thank goodness this thing stopped getting crushed. And you can see here, we're even going into a weekly sell now. We're flirting with the weekly sell, comfortably no less. And you can see there on J4X how sideways it is. I mean, that's how you want your currency to be. You don't want your currency doing this stuff. You want it doing this stuff right there. That's the place you really want it to go. Now let's take a look at it in the, where is it at? Right there. Let's take a look at the Euro Turkish Lira. Right there. So I'm really grooving on this. I think this is really good. Right there. There's Turkish, Euro Turkish. You can see the pressure on the downside nicely. You see the same thing is happening on the weekly there too. Like I said, we may be seeing a new strategy for, maybe it makes sense, you know. I mean, how many times have I complained that derivatives are not used correctly? Here they came up with a way to use derivatives correctly. You know, I mean, you give out free puts, that means money's going to invest in that currency because you know that there's only an upside. Now you just have to be smart on how you invest. But you know, you can feel safe that you're not going to have a major currency translation problem, which is an important factor. I mean, that's what currencies are all about to begin with. And so you can see here that's I mean, look at this rampage it was on, and they've calmed it down by just giving out free puts. Look at that. It's like literally an oscillation that dampened out. So, and it actually has a look like, hey, we're going to go back down to the lows. That would be nice. So, and like I said, I would expect the hedge funds to try to find a way to benefit from that free put. And it may be just responsible investing is the way to benefit from it. You know, putting the money into the Turkish banks, you know, things like that, you know, and investing in some of the companies there, and not having the currency translation problem, trying to take your profits out. So that'll be the real observation. Look, we've watched this currency go from 1.5 to, in this case here, to 20.5. You know, now it seems to literally, I mean, like you can see back in here, where it just kept on climbing and kept on climbing and kept on climbing, and you know, we watched so many times where, you know, you see it there, it's down at 8.5, and you know, it just kept on climbing, and you can see it there at 6.5, and it's like, you know, they've come up with something that looks pretty stable at the moment. All right, from there we're going to drift over to the Canadian. Let's see what the Canadian dollar is doing. We talked about this too yesterday, and that is some of these pairs trades may be more worth looking at cross pairs trades between countries besides the dollar. You know, you might want to start steering. Now, there's an interesting bounce we're seeing this morning on a dollar CAD. I think one of the viewers, Douglas or someone like that, was looking at, or was it Jordan or someone was looking at, was it British pound CAD and British pound Swiss yesterday, which kind of pointed out, it made very clear that there's some benefit of looking at some of the other pairs trades. And you can see here, let's widen that a little bit more. We're still in a sell. It's kind of quiet. It's bouncing on the 50 percentile. That trend's been hanging out for about a year and a half, 2 years now. We've been watching that trend. And so, we keep on thinking it wants to challenge the bottom end of the range. All this hesitation there, makes you leery. It's sitting on the 50 percentile of the whole range of the last 2 years. So we're like, when it does get up into the top end of the range, sometimes it tries to lift through it, just as it's tried to bottom on it, the same thing, And so basically, see, we had blue ones there, and then we moved to black. Interesting. And so in the end result is that we'll see if they come down to the 0.38 here or the 0.23. They stalled last time right before the 2.3. Now, usually we see this currency, have some value to it, gain when we see the oil go up in value, and so oil has been lifting, and so maybe that's the next recipe. Is as long as they keep on lifting oil, we're going to see a firm Canadian dollar, and that's usually where we go. From here we start to look at the oil complex. So let's do that real quick. We'll go like this. Let's do it on Chicago Quant real quick, and we'll leave the Canadian up on the J4X just to emphasize the characteristic. And there it is right there. You can see it's been on this nice long march. Let's scrunch that up a little bit. Where's that at? Right there. Since that November bottom. So that's crude oil lifting up, and there is your November bottom, or in this case here, it's the November top on the currency. So it's been heading down, and oil's been moving up. And that makes sense to me. And that's normally the action we see with Canadian. Let's see. From there, we normally go over into the, we take a quick look at gold. Let's see what gold's doing. Gold, like I said, Robin asked for that a little while ago. Gold is, firm over the last couple days. You can see that strength in there over the last couple weeks. And at the same time, we take a look at the South African Rand from there. Right there. And see the action in the South African Rand. And that has been trying to go down, and I think we're starting to flirt with the weekly sell too at the same time. Let's see, right there. Yeah, see, we made new lows. Yesterday we almost made new lows and failed. You see it's a second day and a sell right there. Let's fix that. I thought I fixed that yesterday. So it went into the buy there, and the next day it went into the sell. And again, that's with the U.S. markets closed, so you barely want to trust the buy to begin with. We're back into the sell, and we're in the weekly sell here in the South African Rand against the dollar. So we keep on thinking maybe it can come back down to this 14.5 area. I guess what they'll do is they'll be making noise right around here in the 15s, right there at the 15 even area. Right. Let's see what it looks like over here. And you can see at the same time this thing is lifting up. How's that? There is strength. The strength has been right there, just as the South African Rand has been going down. Now, let's zip over to the ruble. There it is. And nice little bounce there. Just sideways at the moment. The Democrats love to make Russia the boogeyman, the evil whatever. And I have no doubt that they're not angels, of course, good angels, but I think we pressure them more than we necessarily need to. I really do. I'm always confused by that. No doubt the oligarchs and all that stuff and the laws and the problems that they have. We understand all that. The problem is that we just don't really see anything more than that. You know, we don't necessarily. Um, we just think that they there's more to the story. You know, I mean, Mr. Obama and Mrs. Clinton tried to overthrow Mr. Putin. You know, he tried to coup d'état him. And so, there's a lot of animosity and a lot of anger and a lot of fear and a lot of distrust on both sides. The Democrats, and then they tried to do they did the Russian hoax on Trump, which was proven false. So, I mean, the Democrats in the United States really do some really strange stuff to the Russian Federation and the leadership there. I'm not saying that they're good. I'm not saying that they're angels, but something is definitely something's wrong altogether with the relationship. I mean, totally wrong. Anyway, there's the ruble. You can see it's stuck in a little sideways up action. We've been in that weekly buy since down in the 70 area, and we're hanging out. Where's that at now? The 76 area. Every time it looks like they're trying to, get the currency to head back down, back to 70. It just seems to find another way to go back up again. All right, from there we jump over to the yen. And you can see there the yen, flirting with its sell today. Okay. We're in that weekly buy. From here, we're basically now almost back to where it started from. The weekly buy started down in here in the 113-ish area. And we've gotten as low as 113.48 right there. And then back, what was that? That was the day we were closed, maybe? No, that was Friday of last week. So we'll see what they do with that. We think this thing wants to go higher. It just has that action. The range there is not really clear. Actually, we're at a 5-year, right here, this high up in here. This is a 5-year high there. So there's a, definitely an issue going on. We haven't seen a 5-year high like that in a while. Let's put it up on J4X there. You can see it's tried to bounce with that action there, just like we did here. But we're getting a lot of red, and we have the red here. We have that day was no dot. This day is a red dot, and we're piercing again. So we might be going back into the sell there, and then I guess we watch to see how this weekly develops. If we start to really break down the top part of the time manifold, like the way the 5 is, this is a gas line 3-5. 5 is the little bluish dash cyan line, and the 3s is the green and the white, and also the time manifold is the 3 right there. All right, from there, we finish this off with the Mexican peso. Right there. And as you can see, it's trying to make a quick little bouncer, isn't it? It's been a nice long drive down. There we go. And now we have a couple green dots in a row. You can see it went into the buy right there on Tuesday. And you can see here it's been in that weekly sell from this area here with that daily sell there. And did the nice topping out in there during the Biden or the American, Canadian, and Mexican conference. Boy, did they. That happened right around in here. Next thing you know, the poor currency went flying up. But it looks like it's trying to fall back into its range again now. Douglas, I think it was you who was looking at the GBP Swiss, right? Was it you, Douglas? And the GBP cable? Not cable, Canadian. And good morning to you, too. So there's the finishing off of those currency pairs that we watch. Anybody want to see anything else, just shout it out. And from there, we're going to go back over to the metals complex. And we can stop whatever we're doing if you see anything you would like to see. Yeah, we were just talking about the idea that moving away from some of the dollar pairs and moving to cross pairs of different countries. Let's put in the gold again, show you the gold. It does look like it's firming up in there. There's gold there. Looking very firm and trying to bounce. You see we're having no complaints over here on our math. Selling which one's that? Selling the dollar? Yeah, I can see that. I'm convinced that we'll see a sideways down dollar for a little while. I think that's how it's going to play itself out. Let's see. Oh yeah, there you go. Euro GBP. Have you looked at that? No. Let's check it out and see what's going on there. We'll head back over to the currency. And we'll put it in here too at the same time. Euro forward GBP. There we are. Let's see it over here. Yeah, it's been on one wonderful little drive down, hasn't it? Same situation here. I think we're in the weekly sell from here. Been in a week. I guess we haven't filled this in a while. So let's see. What is this? This is the. I guess we need to make that darker too, so you can see the actual 3.5. Maybe that's better. No. That's better, like that. Now this has been really zippy. Goes into a weekly sell up in here, going to a daily sell, pops up a little bit here and goes back into the daily sell for this whole ride down. Goes into a daily buy there, and now it's been kind of stalled. And now we're back into a daily sell there for the last 2 days, and we've been in the weekly sell since back in here again. So it goes all over the place. This thing is definitely action-packed. There's no doubt about that. I kind of think that cable is going to do so much better than. Let's see, it's pink. That's it. Okay. I think cable is going to do much better than euro. I really do. They just have, look at what they did this morning. Euro, they've gotten rid of all the COVID restrictions altogether. What do they call it? The COVID cult? Last days of the COVIDian cult. That's what they're. This isn't going to be pretty. The downfall of death of cult rarely is. So, and I talked about it here. A friend of mine in the hedge fund that bought all these pharmaceuticals back in 2018 going into 19. Their chairman was the deputy chairman of the National Democrat Party itself. And they bought all these little pharmaceutical manufacturers of masks and gloves and so forth and lost money. And he couldn't understand why they would hold on to these things. And then 2020 comes along, and now he knows why. They made billions off of it. And they sold out. They sold out about 3 weeks ago. So, what we see now is we see that the Democrats are starting to sell out of the COVID because and now England ends all COVID passports, mask mandates, and work restrictions. And just like that, it's all gone. So you would think that the British pound will benefit from this. So this thing is going to keep on gliding south, I would imagine. Let's take a look at it and see what lows have we seen of late. This thing. Wow. Are we seeing like historical lows? Let's check this out on a weekly. We'll make the whole screen for a second here. Okay, no, they're not historical, but what is that? Back to 2016 since Brexit, right? So we're challenging, and what is that? That's like a reverse head and shoulders? That's one big massive formation. So that's a shoulder, that's a head, that's a shoulder. And if they break that, what do? They go back down to this stuff here, and there's 2007. Wow. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens. It's good that you pointed that out, because this may be the pairs trade to really watch, is the Euro GBP for a while. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I call it the flu myself. I don't try. It's just a very, very, very aggressive Chinese flu, and so I just call it the flu. I don't even call it COVID, because I don't. I'm not into the needles and stuff like that. I'm not taking a gene therapy for something that's the flu. I will eat my chicken soup, eat my healthy vitamins and minerals, and exercise and get sunshine, and it does all fine. So, as I sneeze right there, and Doc made us sneeze. That's the flu saying, "How dare you throw me away?" That's exactly it. But yeah, I mean, and England does that, then the next thing you know, the Commonwealth will be doing that. That's 2 billion people on the planet, and that's a quarter of the planet. And before you know it, people will start to realize that this is crazy, and then they'll start to clean up the numbers, and we'll just find out it was all one big political charade. And what I say about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, Democrats, major Democrats in the hedge fund industry, sold out what they bought in 2018 going into 19. So that tells you, and I said that then, the COVID thing is at its end when the Democrats, the major insider Democrats, start selling their positions. And they have. Not only did they sell them, they sold them off to a hedge fund, another hedge fund, a competing hedge fund, Sky. So, uh, so I hear you there, Douglas. All right, now let's. So I guess you can see here on J4X, this is going to be very interesting. I mean, we've seen some really. Remember how we were watching silver doing its head and shouldered and failing, and head and shouldered and failing, and head and shouldered and failing? Maybe this is a topping right here of the head and shoulder. So this is like the shoulder, the head, where there's the head right there, and there it is. And maybe what it's going to do is come back down into the high 70s. Something like that. Play this area here. This will be something, because you're looking at back to way before. I guess, when did Brexit start? That's a good question. When did Brexit really start? Let's see what the Google says about when Brexit began. January 3rd. Oh, okay. That says January 31st, 2020. Okay, so when was the fight? Okay, 2016. There it is. So that's all the way back to 2016, right? And there's 2000. That's 2016. So it runs from here up, and now that they've cleared it, they're at the lows right there of this whole move. The bracket there. Maybe this is the big head and shoulders, and we're going to see this thing come back down into the mid 70s. Challenge this high and that low there, that type of thing. Cool. All right. From there, let's see. We'll go back over to the metals complex unless someone wants to see something. And let's take a look at silver right there. And silver is looking very firm. We're over 24 at the moment, so that's pretty cool. Let's see what it looks like right there. I mean, it's up a whole dollar over the last couple days. So that's pretty impressive. Something we haven't seen in a while. It's been finding ways to go down more than it does go up. But now we're in the weekly buy, we're in the daily buy. So maybe we've got something brewing here, and you got the inflation. So you put all three of those things together in that recipe or that cake that we're baking, and that is that I don't know, maybe we'll get back to the 26 area. And you can see right there, and there it is. Last time, I guess it was back in November, we were up towards 26. We failed up there, 25 and a half basically. When's the last time we seen 26? I guess back in August. So see what they do up, see if we climb up into there. You can see the strength is really lifting. You can see it over here on Chicago. Same situation, looking very firm. And it did that what do they call it when it goes in and out, populations. And you can see it here, goes into a buy, goes into a sell, goes into a buy, and now we're starting to move. And we had that long slide here. I don't know about that long slide. November to the beginning of the year. Went to the sell there, went to the weekly sell this week right in here. And I guess it goes back over one like that. And then you can see oh no, it fits right where it should be, right there. Well, I don't know. We'll just leave it like that. Move back over that. There we go. And so you can see it couldn't really sell off much. It was really having a hard time getting down. I mean, we went down, but not anything major, and made new lows into the low 20s. Nice double bottom, yeah. What's your work showing, Robin? You seeing a finger and all that stuff? Is that the finger thing? Are we finally getting some action in the metals complex? You would think, really. We've got inflation. I don't think the inflation is going to be bad. I think that's what metals are trying to tell us. I really think that we're going to see a big change over the next 12 months in economic policy. And so when we see that economic policy start to change, I think that, you're going to see that inflation start to back off. All right, let's see. What else we got going on here? Let's go over to the, what is that? That's gold, that's silver. Let's see what copper looks like this morning. Copper went into a daily buy yesterday. I saw that. Right there. And right there, you see that? It's flirting with the daily buy today. It's been in a weekly buy, throughout the last 3 weeks. Now it's the fourth week. There was a nice winter chicken dinner. Then you had these crazy twists. You couldn't take the short. You took the long, and next thing you know, it's back into the sell. But this paid for everything you lost, and you made extra. And now we're doing it again. Looks like we close in the daily buy here. Maybe we go back towards the $5 area or $4.80 area or something like that on the copper. All right. From there, we go to, let's take a look at platinum. I mean, we were like, what, 3 or 4 weeks, 2 months, something like that. Here's the April platinum. And so we've been in a weekly buy since the beginning of the year. So it's just 3 weeks. We've been in a daily buy until here. Wow, look at all that stuff. Let's give this a refresh. Something looks really wacko on that. We have to double check the math in that. Okay. So we're back into the buy here yesterday. And it's lifting up again today. We went into the sell here and there. You couldn't take the short, of course, because, we're going to buy. So you didn't lose any money on the short. And now you're long from here and you're getting rewarded for it by, what's that, $20 move? Closed at 28. It traded to 50 to basically 49, so it's $21 gain. Platinum, you know, we've seen platinum not perform very well now over these years. I mean, gold is trading at 1,800. Let's put gold up there again real quick on J4X. You see gold's trading at 1839. You can see platinum trading at 1045. So there's almost an $800 spread there in the pairs trade. Both lows are fingers. Yeah, that makes sense. So it's the double bottom finger. Robin follows a couple of patterns that have been very successful over the last 50 years. And so you can see here, you know, the metals complex is trying to turn itself up and get rolling along in a positive way. Let's take a look at the energy sector now. There's light. We saw that earlier. We've seen what light is doing. Let's see what back month light, or in this case here, I like to call it spring crop. And you can see it's down a little bit today, but it's been in a nice weekly buy and a nice long run. It's all on that buy still right here. Supposedly the numbers came out a little tough on it last night, but nothing major. You know, you can see it closed last night at 96, and it's trading at 34. So it's down about 60 cents. But it's been one heck of a run, and it's still holding up pretty well, too, at the same time. Let's see what Brent is doing. Let's see. Brent. Where's it at? I have it written down. Oh, let's see. Natural gas. Brent. BRNT. Let's make it a capital. Brent. There it is right there. And you can see there Brent is looking firm also at the same time. Oh, it's still loading. There we go. Yeah, same strength there. A little look at that, starting to take a little profit taking. We don't get Brent on Chicago Quant. We just have the lights. That's part of the ice. Yeah, let's see what's going on with EWZ. That is Robin Stock Combo. Here it is right there. It's been an interesting bounce. Look at that. Went into the daily buy there, and it's been in a daily buy since. Let's move that over just a little bit for you. There you are. How's that look? I think you can see it better there. We've been in a weekly buy. Did we make it in there that week, or I guess it was the week after, right? Yeah, it was the week after. So we went into the weekly buy here. You can't take the short because we're in the weekly buy. You go into the daily buy, and boy, has that been a nice winner. Many chicken dinners. Let's check out natural gas. See what natural gas is doing. Shift NG. So right here, dot GB. No, not GN. GB. There it is, right there. Let's put that in. So they're hanging out towards the high end of the range compared to the American natural gas. Let's put the American natural gas also in there. And there is, where's that at? Let's go to there. Is that it? No, right there. And there is natural gas, right? No, that's not it again. There we are. There's natural gas here in the States. It's under $4. And I think in Europe, natural gas is somewhere around $35, something like that, $36. What a major, major difference. 10 times value. And then let me just show you the US one on Dukascopy. And that is Shift G A S dot. There it is right there. Oh, there's one too. Let's see what that one looks like. Oh, this is cool. This is the European natural gas in euros. So you can see there, it's in the 29s. Gas, natural, SA, cool. Yeah, look at that, almost $30 there in euro. And then let's just, so, I mean, what a difference American natural gas is compared to European natural gas now. It's gotten really wild and crazy. You'll see this is, it matches up. That's the American. But how, yeah, I mean, it's a really tough situation there. And you can see here, the American natural gas is breaking down like we are here. We've been in a weekly sell in it since late October. We've been in a sell. We came down from the 6s. This is when European natural gas exploded through the roof here. You see it there. Got up to the, what is that? Right there. Oh, that's the American. Okay, let's go back to European. Gas, where's that? There it is right there. There's the boon. Cool. Natural gas, Great Britain, not great gas, right there. And let's that's a daily. Let's just tighten it up more. So that's the all-time highs. I mean, that's incredible numbers for the same amount of unit as the American, which is, right there. That's why they're shipping enormous amounts of gas to Europe right now in boats and so forth here from the States. I mean, cashing in. I think we're the largest natural gas producer in the world. So, all right, what do we got going on next? From the energies, we'll take a look at the stock indices. Let's go over to, well, let's see what the boon is doing. So as the price of the boon goes down, interest rates rise. That's what they're doing there. Here in the States, here's the 30-year. Same situation. Bond price goes down, our interest rates are rising. So that's the action we're seeing there. From there, we'll go over to the stock indices. And let's see, where's it at? There's the Tech 100. I'll put it up over here. These are all the major companies, like Amazon and Facebook and Google and Tesla and Microsoft and Intel. All the major, modern companies that basically make our economy go nowadays. You can see that there. We are heading towards the bottom here. You can see here, and you can see right here. We're trying to make a little bounce at the moment. We are up about 90 points or something like that. But you can see we've been in the weekly sell since here. And it went down, popped up, ABC type of thing. We'll see if they try to drive it back up into that area there. From there, let's take a look at the S&P 500. Right there. S&P is flirting with the weekly sell. It's the only one of the indices that have not been in a sell. And let's see what it looks like over here. Right there, there it is. And you can see the S&P's down at its bottom also on the J4X. Same situation. And you can see we are down on our lows. Hasn't taken out this low here. but price-wise it has, which is interesting. So we've made a physical lower low, and our math has not. We'll see if they try to bounce it again on the upside here. We're towards the end of the week. You know, that I would think there might be a little covering. I don't know. We have the end of the month kicking in next week. I think the 31st is on Monday though. So we have next week is the last full week. So if we start to see real buying, I would assume it would be somewhere around Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. So we'll see how they trade these products in that direction at this moment in time. All right. Anybody else have anything? I guess what we have to do is we have to figure out a title for this too today. Today's been a very good day in the sense that we're looking at a lot of interesting things. Maybe we'll put on there the euro and the GBP. Maybe that's the real thing that we should be paying attention to. So why don't we do that? We'll put that on there. Today we'll call this webinar something like, you know, pound outperforms euro, or euro GBP weak. How's that? That sounds pretty good. This way you have the pairs trade in there. I like it that way. All right, traders. We will catch you tomorrow, same time, and tomorrow's TGIF. Ta-ta for now. Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Ta-ta, traders.